Welcome everybody to Monday Mayhem. It was a crazy Sunday in the NFL, and if you're like me, you're still waiting for the Monday night slate to come through in order to see what's going to happen in some of your tournament lineups. But hopefully you're doing well in your cash games and are in a solid position to come through on a lot of those. Every Monday, there's always lessons to be learned, and the biggest thing is not to overreact, but I still think that there's a lot of good lessons that we can cover on this Monday. So I want to go through my 5 big lessons from this week in football. The number one lesson that I came out of from this weekend is do not fall into the salary trap. I was talking to a lot of people over the weekend about setting lineups and doing all this stuff, and everyone wants to jump and get up to that next level player if they have a couple $100 left over once they've made their lineup. Don't do that. Play the players that you think are going to have great weeks. There's just so much value in FanDuel and DraftKings across the board that you don't need to spend the full salary cap. You could have a couple thousand left over in both platforms and still have an amazing lineup that's going to win you tournaments. And I think the best example of this is, I don't know if any of you guys, watch or read the top or the optimal lineup of the week. Like, what's the perfect lineup if you've done everything right, got every player and put up the highest score? Those lineups are always like 1,300 or 2,000 short of the salary cap, especially on DraftKings. So just because you have money left over, don't pay up. Play the best player. That's my number one lesson. All right, second lesson of the week. If you can't check injury reports on Sunday, don't play. Don't play. If you know that you're going out Saturday night, you're going to have a big night, and you're going to wake up late on Sunday in time for the games, maybe, don't play. If you're going to play DraftKings and FanDuel and be a daily fantasy sports stud, you have to control your downside. Simple as that. So if you can't wake up Sunday morning early and go through the injury reports and see who's in the starting lineups, don't play. Just sit the week out. Enjoy the football games, have a couple beers, sit back, relax, don't play. Third, and I actually made that mistake too with some of my lineups. I went to the Falcons game. But let's move on. Number 3, there's a ton of value at the quarterback position. Never overpay. Every week you can find a quarterback in the 5,000 to 6,000 range that's going to put up a 25-pointer. Every week. Right now that guy's Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles is going out there and lighting teams on fire. Obviously it's a matchup game though. So 1 week it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. 1 week it's going to be Blake Bortles. 1 week it's going to be Josh McCown. Josh McCown probably had the best week of any quarterback this week in fantasy, and he was at the minimum price. So for the guys who paid up for Aaron Rodgers, you guys are hurting. The guys who paid up for Tom Brady, horrible decision. Because you can get Josh McCown at 5,000, and he put up more points than Tom Brady. Tom Brady had a great week, 25 fantasy points. I think Bortles had 29, and McCown had like 30-something. So those guys could have saved you $2,000 and $2,500. That's what I'm talking about with the salary trap. Just because a guy has a higher salary doesn't mean he's worth it. And that goes back to making player metrics every week and evaluating who's value for money and what they're going to put up. So, you have to balance the point total versus the price. So, and a quarterback, it's the easiest thing to do is to find value that's going to perform. It's going to give you the same amount of points because at the end of the day, we need to maximize our point value. But at the quarterback position, there's so much value you don't have to overpay for it. So don't do it. Don't overpay. All right, I think I've talked about enough quarterback value. Lesson number 4. We're starting to see defensive trends. We're through 5 weeks of the NFL season. You know which teams have good defenses. You know which teams have horrible offensive lines. And you know which teams are playing with quarterbacks that are turnover prone. To give you an example, the Seahawks. The Seahawks offensive line is a joke this year. And if it was any other quarterback besides Russell Wilson, they'd be giving up like 10 sacks a game. They're a sieve. They cannot stop anyone from getting to Russell Wilson. Good thing Russell Wilson is a baseball player. He's quick on his feet. So he's able to get out of a lot of those situations. But still, if you're touching them 10, 15 times a game, you're going to get sacks. So I'm always playing defenses against the Seahawks. The other lesson is the Seahawks have a great defense. Straight up. Don't play any offenses against them. Except, I think Tyler Eifert was an exception this week. Two plays to get into the end zone for Tyler Eifert. I don't think that's a trend that you can look at and say start playing tight ends against the Seahawks. I think the Bengals offense is on fuego, so I think that's an outlier game. Don't worry about them. So pay attention to the defensive trends, and you also know. Just go look at who's getting touched the most for quarterbacks, and that'll give you a good indicator of how good their offensive line is. And for 5 weeks, if they haven't figured out offensive line issues, they're not going to figure it out for the rest of the season, probably. Lesson number 5, I'm going to leave you guys with this. Injuries suck. We saw Jamal Charles go down in the third quarter, right as he was starting to get going against the Bears. Tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the season. That sucks. That is horrible. So, that hurt a lot of my lineups this week, and there's just nothing you can do about it. That is just like, you can't predict injuries, so, I'm not going to win in a lot of tournaments this week because Jamal Charles did go down. I still did pretty well, but, man, that's why I talk about diversification. Never have too many of the same guy. I made a mistake. I thought Jamal Charles was just going to go off this week. I thought he was going to lock for 30 points. And, he just got cut down. And that'll happen in daily fantasy sports. We do all the research. We do all the game breakdowns. We do the metrics game. And, there's a plan out there that we don't know. So if you got hurt by the injury bug this week, I'm sorry. That sucks. But we'll have to fight another day. And that's my Monday Mayhem lessons of the week. I hope you guys are ready for the Monday night slate. Got a lot of good fantasy opportunities tonight. So if you're head-to-head, you need to make some adjustments. Go ahead and look at the Keenan Allens of the world, the Antonio Gateses of the world. Le'Veon Bell's a no-brainer. I think Melvin Gordon could be having a nice game though. So happy Monday, everyone, and hope you're getting ready for the work week.